Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. We have a special edition today. We're going to be discussing the NFL Conference Championship games, and I have two guests, not one. First, we got the man from Thailand, the man they call Jesse the Mule Shul. And if you don't know anything about Jesse, he's a great handicapper. But besides that, the guy is a bulldog when it comes to doing lifting weights. And you can go to his Twitter page, and you can see that he's got a video listed right there where he's outdone both, George Kittle, and now he's working on beating Derrick Henry. Both that are reps at 225 pounds for both guys at their at the rookie combine back years ago. So, and then we got Sean Higgs, and Sean is from picksandparleys.net. Jesse, by the way, jesseshul.com. All three of us are on picksandparleys.net. Me and Jesse are over at sportsmemo.com. All three are at sportscapping.com. So you could find us at various places across the web. But in any event, we're lucky to have these two guys. Without further ado, let me say hello to these gentlemen. Jesse, how are you, my friend?
I'm feeling pretty good, Ross, and thanks for the commentary about the bench press and everything else. Not bad for a 46-year-old man. Try my hardest.
Yeah, so some of you young guys who like to throw in that we're old and all that kind of stuff. Let me tell you something right now. You'd have your hands full with all three of us. I'm 65, and I'm not a Texan tough guy, but I am a tough guy. So in real life, and Jesse is the mule, and we got our all-star offensive lineman that throws the blocks in front of us. His name is Mr. Sean Higgs, and he's also a terrific handicapper, not only in the NFL, but college basketball. He's phenomenal. So, Sean, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good. And I don't think I've ever tried bench at 225. Really. I mean, I've just been, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now if I could do 80 push-ups in a minute and I'm 290, 310, is that equivalent to doing?
That's pretty impressive, no matter what weight you are. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, like I said, we all have our strengths.
I think my son can bench more than me. He's like, come on, I get on a bench, and he's doing 180, 200. I'm like, I don't need to do that, Dad. I'm not, I think, and Jess has worked out. I think that kind of weightlifting is different than just kind of other kind of stuff. Am I wrong, Jess? I know we're going to talk about football for a second, but when it comes to those kind of weights and functional weights, it's two different kind of, right? When I went to gym, I usually kind of the stretch bands, kind of, resistant weight training as opposed to regular weights. They're two different. They affect you two different ways, right?
They are. It's very different. And even the NFL Combine, they do they count the reps at 225. Most jocks that you meet on the street talk about their max, right?
Max, right? Oh, my max.
What's my max? I can bench 400, 3, and they're all lying. Every single one of them's lying. I can tell you that much. But yeah, the way the NFL Combine does it,
because the true strength would be your amount of reps you can do.
I mean, I don't know. I mean that's debatable. I mean, it's all different. I mean, your max is one thing. How many reps you can do is one. There's all sorts of different cardio and like what you're talking about, doing a certain amount of push-ups in a certain amount of time. But I think when you're 46 years old and you work at a desk and you're a handicapper and you can do something better than NFL football players can do, any chance you get to do that?
I'm just jealous I can't do the 225
you know what I mean?
20 times.
I've had a lot of people come to me and say, well, Derrick Henry's tougher than you. And I'm like, well, I'm sure he is, but I work a desk job. And the fact that I can do that, I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I'm always oh, that person, we talk about a mom, she's oh, she's thinks she's pretty. Well, that's her, she's an actress. That's her job. That's what she gets up in the morning. She has somebody cook all of her meals. She has zero stress in the world. That's her job to look like that. Just like these guys have to be one of those.
I need a nutritionist, Sean.
Yes, seriously.
From what I understand, Mr. Mom, I call him Jesse, because he does a lot of the cooking at home helps his wife out in that regard. And,
I like cooking.
I know you do.
She gets a little she cooks and gets a little fancy. She's doing all. I'm a straight grill guy. Like I'll do the grill. Although I do make a wicked chicken franchise I can do, but the grill's easy.
Yeah.
Season up, you just cook it. I like it. It's
Sean is initially from, originally, I should say, from New Jersey. He now resides in this great state of Texas. Jesse, I kid all the time. He is in Thailand. That's where he resides. He has a beautiful Thai wife and family, and he's originally from Western Canada, and me, I'm from Western New York. So, we got a nice mix of where we grow up geographically. So in any event, let's talk these games here. Cincinnati and Kansas City, and we have Philadelphia in San Francisco. And what else? I don't think I'm going out on a limb when I say that the 4 best teams are left. I mean, once in a while you get an upset, and it might have been of the fluke variety, and then they follow it up in the conference championship game with a dud. But these 4 teams have combined for a 59-14 record this season. That's an 808 win percentage. So, and Cincinnati went to Buffalo and kicked their ass. In Philadelphia, kicked the Giants' ass. In Cincinnati, excuse me, San Francisco, a hard-fought win against the Dallas Cowboys. And, the other thing is we're looking at San Francisco's gone 12-0 straight up and 10-2 ATS in the last 12. Cincinnati, 10-0 straight up and 8-2 ATS in the last 10. Kansas City, 6-0 in the last 6, 11-1 in the last 12. But, a caveat there is they're just 7-11 against the spread on the year, and that includes 2-5 in their last 7. And then Philadelphia, they lost a couple games over the last 4 weeks of the season, but keep in mind, Jalen Hurts wasn't available in the one loss against the New Orleans Saints. So, a lot of interesting stuff to look at, guys. Just your general take without a free pick in terms of just the overall picture of where we're at in the NFL playoffs right now. And I'll start with you, Sean.
All right, well, I guess we'll start Philly. That's the early game. And you mentioned their losses, right? Dallas, I mean, Minshew was in that game and in the Saints game. These guys could easily have been undefeated, maybe a one-loss team. Really good. And you mentioned the hard-fought games. And real fast, I'll jump to the Kansas City, mentioned the ATS numbers and the streaks these guys on. Remember, Kansas City is a bad ATS team. Most of the time they're laying 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 points. And you see this with a lot of good teams. They kind of like, whatever, let's just get through. We have a mission, right? It comes to playoff time. We know our bigger goals. We don't care if we beat you by 10 or 8 or 17. Who cares? Let the chips fall where they may. But anyway, so this Frisco, I'll give that a prop too as well with Jesse in these games. I look at this one, no matter who came in here from Dallas San Fran, they're going to be banged up. I'm actually kind of shocked the line opened at a 1.5 or a 2 with Philly. I mean, where's the respect for Philadelphia? And I'm not a Philly guy at all. Again, you sound from Jersey. I don't like anything about Philadelphia. I mean, even the cheesesteaks. I'll give them the cheesesteaks. Other than that, I'm not a lover of anything Philly. I used to like Charles Barkley back in the day. Everybody was a Knicks fan. I like the Sixers with Barkley. Where a total disrespect for basically a 15-16-1 team because their starting quarterback was out.
Yeah.
I mean, this team is really good. And I get it. San Fran's excellent. You got a Super Bowl head coach. He's been there, done that. He wins with Nick Mullins, Alex Smith. Don't make a difference who comes into San Fran. They got a quarterback. It works out. But did you see the way they played against a good team last week? Because they've pretty much beat up. All right, Seattle's a nice story. Arizona's a cluster. I mean, they kind of beat so-so teams. They played a team in Dallas, and they look like I don't say an average team because I don't think Dallas is a terrible team, but it's not as clear-cut as, well, they're an awesome team. I get there's probably a lot of money on San Fran. They had to adjust the lines a little bit here. But defensively, I think Philly's as good as Dallas or better. You have a road game with Purdy here in the playoffs versus a good team. Again, he beat some average to bad teams. I've seen Shanahan. This is my big complaint with the guy. I said it a million times. The Falcons in the Super Bowl. He blew that game with his play call. The Chiefs San Fran game. He blew that. They were up 10 in the fourth quarter. He blew that game. Last year in the championship game against the Rams, he blew another 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I can't trust that guy. And as good as Purdy's been, you're taking a defense that has what? A monster line with what? Everybody in the line has 10 sacks. Are you kidding me? That's like That's
Yeah.
like you playing Madden at home. Like you can't even pull that off as a gamer to try to get that stat going. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so he's going to be in it. I don't know. I like the under, and I got the early under 45.5. Not good. It's gotten up to 46. I still like the under here because I think we're going to see a little limited play, right? We don't want anybody making mistakes. It's a Super Bowl's on the line. I'm not going to see some really high risk kind of stuff going on here. So I like the under, but prop sides, I'm going to give you a couple touchdowns here. So I'm obviously going to go Debo for San Fran because I think he kind of makes them go. We want to go Kittle plus 190. I get it. He's caught a lot of passes, but Debo could do it on the ground. You know, who knows? He takes a swing pattern or he runs out of the backfield on a sweep. So you got a couple options with him. And I'll go AJ Brown for a plus 140 touchdown for Philly. I mean, he's going to be involved. We've seen Philly couldn't stop San Fran couldn't stop CeeDee Lamb last week. How are they going to stop AJ with some more weapons around him as well? So two props there. AJ touchdown 140 and a Kittle or Debo for 170. Sorry.
All right, there you have it from Sean Higgs. And Jesse, I look at this Kansas City line. First of all, it's very odd to see Kansas City as a small favorite at home. Secondly, it's odd to see Kansas City with a total of just 48, which would be high for a lot of teams, but not for Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, high ankle sprain. For those of us who have played sports throughout our life, and I know the modern technology now and the recovery periods are a lot shorter than when I was playing back in the day. However, you talk to any medical expert, a high ankle sprain is the worst kind of ankle sprain you can get. And it's also usually takes longer to recover than a normal just ankle sprain. So having said that, I can't help but think the bookmakers are looking at this when they set this line and said, you know what? I don't think Mahomes is right. I don't think. And the thing is, he'll be able to pass the ball with no problem. The problem with Mahomes is, I should say, what's going to be missing from Mahomes in this game, Jesse, in my opinion, is his ability to create, improvise, and when his mobility is affected, how good of a quarterback will he be? Will he be easier to defend? I don't want to steal your thunder, but your thoughts.
Well, I'm not a doctor, Russ, so I'm not going to get into the recovery time for high
He's a
ankle
weightlifter.
Wait, you're a weightlifter, but you're not a doctor? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
He's on Twitter. I know he's a doctor. He's a doctor and he's a Geo Global military consultant too, probably. That's like
I should have been a doctor, but no, my professional analysis of this game is I think Mahomes is going to be limited. I think he's not going to be scrambling in the backfield. I don't think he's going to have the luxury of holding onto the ball and using his athletic ability to escape sacks. I think he's going to be forced to get that ball out quicker. Andy Reid's going to have a game plan for that, plan around it. Like you said, Ross, he's not going to have trouble throwing the ball. He's going to be able to pass. He's just not going to be able to run around. And I think that bodes well for his hookups with Travis Kelce, his security blanket, the guy he feels most comfortable throwing to. I think they will get the ball out quick. I think they'll be fairly successful. I think we look at the line, a lot of money came in on the Bengals, and that there's been a bit of a correction. There's talk of Mahomes is back at practice. I think that, whatever the best drugs they got on the market, he's going to get them as far as painkillers and whatever they can do to get him to recover. I expect him to be effective, at least for the first half. I think he's going to be okay. And I don't see a lot of value in backing the Bengals here. I mean, I look at it, it's a revenge game. The Bengals came from behind, won in overtime at Kansas City last year. And now we've got the rematch just a year later. Again, it's at Arrowhead. We're talking Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and the list goes on. And the Bengals were a 5.5-point underdog last year, and now they're a favorite. I mean, even if you like the Bengals, let's say you like the Bengals, you think they're going to win. I don't see the value there, taking them as a road favorite here or a pick-em. I don't have a side in this game. I'm probably going to stick to total and props. One of the props I'm looking at, though, is Mahomes to throw a pick. I think he's going to be effective. I think he'll move the ball around, but he's going to be less mobile. He's going to be a little bit more panicked to get the ball out because he knows he can't run around and extend the play. Last year against the Bengals, he threw for 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he got picked off twice. Yeah, I think good value on Mahomes to throw a pick here.
Yeah, well, Kansas City's actually a 1.5 point favorite as we speak, and the total is 48.
It's flipped again, huh?
Yeah,
What is that?
I'm seeing 1 and 1.5 right across the board. So it goes to show you that the bettors are confused as can be with this game because of the factor that we just discussed with Mahomes. And Jesse brought up a good point. They beat him last year. They won in overtime. They had to come from behind in the AFC Championship game. But this is the 4th meeting now between these teams since last year. Cincinnati 3-0 straight up in ATS against Kansas City. Now, you may say they have their number. I don't put a lot of emphasis in that because when you look at those 3 games, they were all decided by exactly 3 points. So it's not like Cincinnati's blowing them out of the water. And 2 of the wins that Cincinnati posted, including earlier this season, were at home. So now they go on the road, and could they beat Kansas City again on the road? My question to you guys, again, the big story last week was Cincinnati's offensive line. Everybody predicted that was going to be their downfall against Buffalo if indeed they were on the other side of that game. 3 new offensive line starters because of injuries. And lo and behold, one thing that is evident is they still were able to run the ball against a Buffalo defense and run it very effectively, which opened up play action pass. Kansas City, in my estimation, is not the best defensive team by any stretch. They're probably out of the 4 teams left, I think, has the weakest defense of the 4. And again, I would be curious to hear you guys' opinions on this. And but having said that, Kansas City still gets a good pass rush. They got some guys who can get to the quarterback. And I think whoever gets out to a lead in this game and can dictate the pace. For example, if Cincinnati gets behind by more than 1 score, it's not that they can't come from behind, but if they have to get one-dimensional in the second half to catch up, it could be a long day. Because, again, the offensive line held up last week because they ran the ball so well. And they were in obvious pass situations. And they were in short yardage situations on 3rd down for most of the day. So again, I'll start with you, Sean. Your thoughts on what I just said.
Yeah. Defensively, you got to think the 2 best rests in the NFC by far. I think they're superior defenses. And the Bengals, yeah, you lost offensive linemen. And we said this going into last week. It doesn't. Last year's offense gave up like 70 sacks. I mean,
yeah,
they're not as bad. This is okay. They might be backups, but you know what? They've improved. Everybody's kind of taking a step up. They've improved, and you're going to be able to run because that's not that Kansas City and Buffalo are the same kind of team, but they're still kind of elite teams.
Yeah,
and I don't think Cincinnati's going to try to get out of what they're going to do. They probably want to run the ball, break it up a little bit, and Kansas City's got a couple guys with some sacks. Nothing crazy. You don't got to worry about one guy coming in who's got like 17 sacks on a year, like most teams have. A big stud guy. I don't know. This one to me, I would probably lean a little Cincy here. Yeah, they beat them 3 straight times. And someone said in my chat, they're like, oh, they own them. I'm like, I don't know if they own them. I mean, I thought Cincinnati's been the hottest team and the best team since December.
Yeah, I mean,
you one game went to 2 of the 3 games were
Sean,
decided
all three games were
no
decided
time on the
by
clock.
all 3
Exactly.
games. It was probably a field goal. So I mean,
yes,
I mean,
Cincinnati won on a field goal with no time. Kansas City forced overtime with no time on the clock, and the other game was close until. I mean, this is a who knows who's got the ball last. But as Jesse was saying about Mahomes' ankle throwing the ball, he like the interception prop. Yeah, he's gonna be off his back foot. He's gonna be not he's not cocking back, nothing, everything on the pass. Who knows what's gonna happen there? And you see the flip. Let's be honest. I don't think this is, Joe Better betting on, Thursday and Wednesday, what's going on in the practice news. I think this is the books probably got a little bit more of an insight saying, all right, we'll flip this back. No cast. He looks okay walking. We'll flip it back to a 1 here. This is
It's still a low line, though, Sean, for Kansas City at home. You know?
Yeah, but Cincinnati's just been so hot. I mean, since
Yeah,
December, these guys, the
where I'm
entire they lost to
Recency
Cleveland.
bias. It's recency bias as well.
For
Yeah,
a month and a half recency bias. I mean, I guess. I mean, they look-
I'm saying that this line tells me that they fully expect Patrick Mahomes to be not even
Play, yes.
close to 100%. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what this line tells me. It doesn't. I don't read anything into it other than that. And beyond,
that's a big loss. I mean,
Yeah.
Henry's a vet. I guess a pros guy is going to come in and not be a deer in
Yeah.
headlights. But come on, from Mahomes to Henry's got
I
to be
think they're
3
getting
points.
too much love for what they did against Buffalo last week, and there's not a lot of emphasis on what they did against the Ravens a week prior to that.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really lucky to get past the Ravens. They were a few inches away from the Ravens taking the lead and
Yeah.
probably winning the game. And they were outgained by 130 yards against a team that isn't really that good with a backup quarterback. I mean, that almost leads me to believe that Kansas City at home with Chad Henne and this line's fair, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I think it's more in line with the fact that what we just discussed. Jesse, you mentioned, yes, he'll be able to throw the ball, but I still think he's going to throw at least 1 pick. And Sean makes a good point. High ankle sprain. How much are you going to be able to get your body behind it? I mean, we know he's got great arm strength, but at some point, thrown off your back foot, you lose velocity, if indeed that's what occurs. Again, I am making this estimation based on the fact that I think with Mahomes being 100% healthy, we're looking at Kansas City as at least a 3-point favorite in this game, right? At least. So
I'd say like 4, probably like a 4, you'd think.
Yeah. So and there's a possibility Chad Henne will be called into action. We don't know that. We can't predict that. But I mean, based on the fact he's going into this game with a high ankle sprain, he may be ineffective, and they have to put Chad Henne in just because he's just not healthy enough to get it done. Again, that's just it's all speculation on our part.
And let's be honest, Russ. If since he gets a shot and they're gonna be able to bring him down, you don't think a guy's gonna come down all 280 pounds on his ankle a little bit? Give him a little bit of an extra little rollover when he gets him on the ground a little.
Yeah,
it's a little gamemanship. Oh, that's you can't do that.
And that's why you got a game plan for him getting rid of the ball before they get a chance to do that.
They can't risk this guy getting knocked to the ground, even if he's throwing in somebody and he gets pushed and he comes down awkwardly on his. Come on, that's just a common twist of an ankle. Now you got a sore ankle as it is, or a high ankle sprain, whatever the case may be.
This may be the first game that Kansas City's played in the last 3 years where we can honestly say that the other team has, in my estimation, better skilled position players offensively than Kansas City does. I mean, we don't have Tyreek Hill there anymore. There's nobody who scares you on the outside from Kansas City. I mean, they don't stretch the field vertically like they used to with Tyreek Hill. Still, Kelsey is a tremendous tight end. So, Cincinnati's got a lot of answers offensively. I mean, they could run the ball with Joe Mixon. Those 3 wide receivers are as good a group, if not the best group in all the entire NFL. So it'd be interesting. But Jesse, let me ask you a question. I mean, we're looking at the same thing. Sean made some good points with Philly. Are they underestimating the Eagles? I mean, again, there's 2 ways to look at this. You got a team that's the number 1 seed in the NFC as just a 2.5-point favorite right now at home. Also, the other side of the equation you could look at to make it real confusing is you got a team that's won 12 in a row and covered 10 of their last 12, and they're an underdog. So, I mean, what do you make of all this?
Well, I think a lot of people are going to look at it and say San Francisco's coming in with a rookie quarterback. A rookie quarterback's never won the NFC Championship game, never been to the Super Bowl. A rookie's never won the Super Bowl. And they're going to give Philly the advantage with Jalen Hurts. My opinion there is I think you got to call that a wash because Hurts hasn't proven anything to me in big games. I mean, he's had the benefit of playing behind the best offensive line in football, surrounded by talent, as has Purdy. I mean, Purdy's obviously in a good situation as well, but neither one of these guys won a big game in their career. Hurts, even going back to college with Alabama, he was benched. It was Tua Tagovailoa that came in and threw the walk-off winner against Georgia in the national championship game.
Yeah.
Not Hurts. Hurts had to go somewhere else, right?
Went to Oklahoma.
So
Went to Oklahoma and they got in the college football playoff as well. Anyway, but
but again, he didn't win it. He didn't win the big game. So I mean,
no, I got
to
you.
me, Hurts is completely unproven. I'm not saying that Purdy's a better quarterback. I'm just saying I don't think you can hold that against San Francisco. I mean, I really think this game looks like a coin flip. I think this game looks like the kind of game that you could talk yourself into saying Philly's better or San Francisco's better. I'm not really buying it either way. I mean, San Francisco has the number one ranked defense in the NFL. I've heard a lot of people say strength of schedule. I looked at the strength of schedule. Yeah, I mean, you could make that case, but Philly's strength of schedule is very comparable. So it's not really an argument, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't have a side in this game, but I do have a prop, and I like Hurts to throw an interception at even money. Last year against the Buccaneers in his playoff game, 258 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks on 23 of 43 passing. When's the last time we've seen him play a defense like San Francisco? I don't know. It hasn't been lately. San Francisco, 22 picks in their last 18 games, I believe. So, I like the chances of Hurts throwing an interception in this game.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of Jalen Hurts. And Jesse, you make all good points. Yes, he hasn't won the big one in the college football playoffs. He was pulled from the one college football playoff championship game in favor of Tua. He went to Oklahoma. They lost in the college football playoff semifinals, but the kid does nothing but win. I mean, he hasn't won it all, right? But he's a winner. He's a high character kid, comes from a good family, has had great coaching throughout his college career into the NFL right now. I certainly give Philadelphia the edge at quarterback here because nothing against Brock Purdy. He's performed quite well. Matter of fact, he had over 300 yards in his first playoff appearance. But we'll see what happens here. One of these quarterbacks is going to advance, and it's either going to be a rookie or a guy that is under a lot of scrutiny for somebody who does nothing but has won in college and the NFL. And Sean, you brought up a good point. It was either Sean or Jesse. I can't remember.
Well, there's also the question about a shoulder injury too, Ross. There is speculation of whether Hurts is 100% healthy.
100%.
And he hasn't really had a big game where he's looked impressive since that shoulder injury. So there is some uncertainty surrounding the health of his shoulder.
There you go. So a lot of uncertainty going into the conference championship game. Sorry,
I was just going to say, hey, Ross, let me just jump really fast. So
absolutely.
Jesse's just a negative Nelly in here, picking both guys to throw interceptions. Come on, interceptions and everybody.
Yeah.
The Hurts thing.
If there was a prop on somebody getting hurt this game, he would have that too, So.
The Hurts shoulder's 100%. That's why I kind of like the under against the Giants the first game. Last week, you didn't see much out of him in the final game of the season. Then he had a bye week, and last week, let's be honest, they had a scrimmage, right? They had a preseason game. He played at, not much going on there. How much does he have? And last point there, you're talking about guys winning in college, and let's be honest, we've seen some guys win in college who don't amount to any kind of NFL quarterback. I mean, I'm seeing articles that Will Levi is going to be the number one pick. The Colts are going to.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I mean, the guy won 7 games in Kentucky. This is the guy who's going to lead the team
in a run-oriented offense. In a run-oriented offense, it's
quarterbacks. I think are a crapshoot. I think a quarterback comes in. Most times they come into bad teams. How often are they going to succeed? I'm going to say 50%. Right? You're coming into a bad team. 90% of the time, you're on a team that's won 3 games. How good you're going to be?
Yeah,
but these guys, you kind of luck into a good spot with Philly or Purdy out there in San Fran, or even they got Lance, but who knows? I mean, you got talent around you. You know, I didn't think it happened. It's
I
going to be a
think-
good one. We got two.
Yeah.
These games open up at basically 2-point spread. So that's all you need to know. We got 4 good teams. They should be.
I think the best
Game.
betting values are on the totals on each game. That's just me. Because for all the reasons that we both just specified, all three of us just specified, that there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of the quarterbacks, with Mahomes being hurt and Hurts with the shoulder injury and a rookie quarterback for San Francisco. The only quarterback that's really stable right now, for lack of a better phrase, is Joe Burrow. And boy, oh boy, did he perform well. He's
playing behind an unstable offensive line.
Exactly. There you go. So that's where I'm going with this. I think I'm going to be looking at the totals as my plays on Sunday. And again, folks, we apologize. This is not a free pick video. And it was a betting preview show. And I hope that you gained something from it, from all 3 guys you're looking at right here that had winning NFL seasons and go into the conference championship games with winning records in the NFL this year. Having said that, I was the least accomplished of the 3 in the NFL. I made a profit, but it's I'm only like plus $5,000 for my dime bettors over the course of the year. And Jesse and Sean made a killing this year in the NFL. And I'm going to.
Yeah, but Higgs is the unicorn, though. He's literally doubled up on the number 2 guy.
But, you know, that's, you know, like we get into like, if you still win at a 58, 59, 60% clip, even though it's less game, it's still money. Like, I don't think people don't get that. It's the same thing. Like, I don't understand if it's you're winning X amount or 0, it's still a win is a win, whether it's 10 games or 100.
So, guys, I don't mean to cut you short, but we're running really short on time here. And by the way, folks, after a 3-10 weekend, which I stunk, since Monday I'm 8-0. So I'm going to lead Jesse real quickly and Sean real quickly. We'll start with Jesse. Tell the folks how you've been doing of late and what you got coming up and where you prefer they find you.
Well, follow me on Twitter at Jesse Schul or at Jesse Schul. Follow me at my website, jesseschul.com. You can find me at Sports Memo, Sports Capping, Picks and Parlays. I am the number 1 NBA handicapper all time at Sports Capping based on win percentage with a sample size over 1,000 games. I am number 1 overall for 2023 at sportsmemo.com. I'm kicking ass basically across the board. Picks and Parlays as well. Got to give them a shout out. Not quite as much as Sean, because Sean plays so many games and he's so goddamn good at it. So take it away, Sean.
Yeah, the other ass kicker. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I almost said ass kisser, but that would be the first.
Yeah, having a nice NFL season. So I got 2 NFL up. You could get. We mentioned winner free picks and Picks and Parlay, same site there. I'm on SportsCap with the guys. Twitter, Mr. Sean Higgs, and the Midday Money Show is 7 days a week. I do a free pick show, Midday Money. A lot of free picks there, but I'll have. Not, you know, Jesse mentions the NBA. To me, that's a no betting allowed. I can't. It's just I can't do the NBA all the time. It's difficult, especially like I don't know. Jesse's like a day ahead of us. He's like a time traveler. He's a talent with the lines. I can't, forget. Do Jesse NBA. I'll grab 1,000 college basketball games this year, and we'll be fine. And
and myself, college basketball 50 and 36 since November 17th. That's good for 58%.
That's like a Saturday.
Yeah. And like I said, since Monday at my site at Sports Capping 8-0 and on a nice roll too. So you can find me at rbwins.com. Jesse keeps raising his hand like he's a little kid in school and wants to be called upon. I believe he's adjusting his light. But once we get well beyond that, we are 3 mature young men that old men that win at a very consistent rate. Jesse Schul at jesseschul.com. Sean Higgs at picksandparleys.net, Ross Benjamin, rbwins.com. Folks, if you have not subscribed, take a second to do so, please. It will cost you absolutely nothing. Don't forget to give the old guys a like at the end of the video. And until the next time, for Jesse Schul, Sean Higgs, and Ross Benjamin, we'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care and God bless, folks.